Want to know the craziest part about AI tools? If they have an API, and for anyone willing to put in the work, you can build a full business out of them. Watch me in 24 hours go from zero to having a fully built logo generation SaaS app. In this step-by-step tutorial, you're going to see me build and launch a logo generation SaaS app that you can charge money for. I'm talking a professional-looking app with secure Stripe payments and an AI-powered logo generator from one of the latest models out there. All that you're going to see built in just 24 hours. Now, as we dive into our outline here, we're going to see that basically, yes, we are building an AI logo designer SaaS platform. And the tools that we're going to be using are, number one, Bubble.io for those unfamiliar, which is our full stack no code tool. Two, we're going to be using Claude, which is going to use its intelligence to determine how the prompt should be that gets sent to. Three, Ideogram, our image generator. And then finally, four, Stripe, which will process our payments, and everyone has seen the Stripe checkout, which they're really comfortable with and familiar with, so that's a great option. And finally, an optional thing, which we won't see, but check the channel for a watermark API if you are actually interested in pulling together all the pieces to build this. But 24-hour challenge, we're not going to push the edges too hard. Then finally, we're going to celebrate with a launch. Now, to actually get into the nuts and bolts of what we're going to be doing here, we're going to be following this flowchart. This flowchart is what's going to help us lead ourselves to a successful build. Being organized when creating an app is one of the most important things that you can do. So, with that being said, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the app plan and all of the UI screens using a special No Code Academy process. And once we've done that, we'll build that layout and the screens that we get over in the Bubble. That app plan is going to tell us what data structure we need. And then it's, no more than a few minutes actually, once you know your structure, to go and build it in Bubble, which is great. And then off onto the races on the programming side of things. I anticipate that the layout and the programming will probably be the longest portion in this 24-hour stretch. So I've planned, a good session here and here. I hope you're ready. Let's kick it off by going over to our UX UI tool of choice, Claude, where I'm going to take the No Code Academy set of prompts that are going to lead us to where we want to go. So I'm just going to type in logo generation app, and we're going to kick this off. Okay, and so what it's given us now is a sitemap and an epic. Let's just take a look at what it is we're going to build here from a high level. So as a business owner, I want to quickly generate a professional logo using AI technology, preview the result, and purchase the full quality version if satisfied, so I can establish my brand identity without hiring a designer. Okay, so the user stories we can see from the various parts of things, or various parts of the app, that we will have users, fulfilling their wants and needs through these particular ways, and ultimately leading up to the purchase and download of something if they like it. Okay, so I think that's looking good. We're going to continue on with building out the project plan, and we can see that it's giving us, yes, logo generation. That's what I'm going to do. We're going to have a business name input field. We'll need to have a character limit and sanitation on the data so that they don't, input something in, naughty into the system. All of these different things we have now, like the stuff we need to do for the UI and the data. Luckily, I think the hours estimates that it's placing on these things come from the traditional world of code, which is changing rapidly, but it certainly doesn't apply to our world in the world of no code. So we're going to see what we get for our project plan as we wrap up. And we can see it's come up with our screen list, which is great. This is kind of our punch list of what we know to go through here. And let's take a look at actually what's going on here. So we can see that in our subtask of our user stories, which are basically the broken down, components that someone would need to take care of in order to successfully, meet the criteria. So let's take a look at, I want to reset my password if I forget it. A pretty actually easy one for the world of Bubble because we have some things pre-built for us that we'll use. But we can take a look at, let's see. This is under number 1, authentication. This is I believe the third item in here, and this is the first item there. So let's take a look at our mapping here. So we can see it's item number 1.3.1. So 1.3.1, it's mapped that particular UI task onto this screen. It's done its job saying, hey, if they're going to do a pass or reset, they're going to do it on this screen. And here we see it now finally making its first part of our user interface. So that's amazing. We've just spent a few minutes here and we're already off to the races on seeing something. Okay, and so here's what it's come back with. And one of the nice things about Claude is that you can actually go and you can take your artifacts, you can publish it. So I've done that, and here's what we have. So create your professional logo in seconds, join. That's a lot of businesses. Maybe we'll do less than that, but it seems to make sense. We can easily buy our way to a number that's actually real, where we just go and make logos for 100 businesses or 1,000 businesses or something like that. And those are the businesses that have created a logo with the brand, even if they're, not fully formed businesses, right? So, okay, enter your business name, and then you'll be off and running. I'm not a fan of this. I think this should go horizontal, but I'll just actually change that when I build it so I can still use this. Or some logo examples. These seem awfully big. Maybe I'll make it a better grid, and then trusted by businesses worldwide. Maybe I'll just say trusted by these businesses, and just have some people there. That we're just filling in the details, and obviously we can get real people at a future time. All right, so I'm going to continue on with building out more pages. Okay, so page 2, it's actually bringing me to the progressive form where we're gathering the information. One thing I want to note, I like this, where these tips are for better results. However, the business details, we're actually going to rely on this one to be those business deals. So let's now have it make this next screen. All right, and we see here now this industry one, where someone will select this, right after. So basically it goes from them entering this here to next. Once they've entered their business name, it'll come here. They'll select this. They'll select a style. We'll get to a preview. Awesome. I'm liking this a lot. Let's go ahead and publish that and take a look. Choose your style. Amazing. So we see this preview screen. Let's take a look at the full one now. Awesome. So I have an industry, style, preview. Well, it looks like we could work on this progress bar, because I guess would it be green if we were here? I'm not sure, but we're going to try to avoid those getting into the weeds type of discussion for this, because really our goal is to get all these screens done, and let's just keep doing that. Okay, and as we fill out our screen list, we can see we're kind of coming to a home stretch here. We've got these nice modals which we can pop up and have as part of the interactions on the app. And there we go. We've rounded out the screens on the app, and I'll just drop this one in here at the end. We'll take a look at this login screen, and then let's go ahead and get a view. Now that we've worked our way through everything, that took 58 minutes, and there's a lot of back and forth that I wanted to get some very specific things on a few of these items. But here we see, okay, this is our screen list here, landing page. Is the first one. We've got something that looks pretty good, and then our dashboard where someone can start afresh. They see how much stuff they have left, and they have some navigation spots on the left hand side, and they can see the stuff that they've created. Next, we'll go to the logo generator, and this is a couple multi-step screen here. So industry, they'll choose the style, and then they'll get the preview. Next, they can see their logo history, and that is something that comes off of, let's see, this dashboard here. These are just like the internal parts, so these would actually go into these ones inside of the dashboard would go into here. And let's see, when they go to logo history, when they decide to purchase one, if they go to continue payment, we can see here that they are able to enter their stuff in, which will connect up to Stripe, and then they can go through, have their purchase complete, where they can download their zip files. Amazing. Their account settings, pretty simple, standard stuff. We'll also note, a few of these screens here. And then now we have these modals. that we saw earlier that let us give nice user experience as people are working throughout the app. And of course, because we're dealing with, terms and licensing, and we're giving someone, the ability to use something in their business, we want to include a license of like, hey, you paid for this is yours, amazing. And then finally our login screen. So with that done, I feel pretty good. I'm going to go and fire up Bubble and then start on this page here. One of the great things about Claude, now that we're firing up Bubble, is that I can also ask it to give a style sheet. So I'm just going to go and enter these as my first list of things to do here. It's going to make it a lot easier as I go out and begin to build the pages. Okay, and so with some text and some button stuff in there, I feel ready to get going on the main page itself. So the way I like to look at this stuff, and if you're interested in, like a full breakdown of something like this, check out the UX UI Designers course in Bubble in the No Code Academy course library, where we actually go through an entire homepage and we go through this process. So what you missed, in this shorter version of a YouTube video is adding the style sheet. Like we go over A, how to pick all the styles, B, although nowadays you can have the help from a AI friend to pick the styles for you, and then how you load them in, and then how we go about A, choosing what goes where and how to determine which layouts go where. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with that process. So for me, and in that video, it's very similar to this, although it'll also go into making the page responsive, adding animations, so on and so forth. But let's take a look. So the way I break this down is that this whole page is just, you could think of it as one long column. So then our next question is, how many rows are in this? Well, I see this is a row with a couple items in it. I think that this could actually be it would be a row, but it would would have columns in it. And that this is the first item in a column. So we'll see how this gets broken down here in just a moment. So I'm going to grab my first group, drop it in here. I'm just going to note all my page settings here, my container layout as a column, width and height, for anyone that is interested in seeing this. Okay, so this I want to put at. What I like to do is I like to use the Command Shift 4 rather on a Mac, and you can figure out kind of rough estimates of what it is you need. So I'm going to try and get the white padding above and below, so that's 68, although I missed it just a touch. So I'm going to say, well, it's either 68 or 66. Let's go with 68. And with a quick check-in, and we compare it to what we've got from our Claude design to what we've got here. I think we've got a really great start. I'll point out a tip for anyone that doesn't have this Chrome extension called Colorzilla. With this one extension, you can pick any color on the page so that you can easily identify what it is. So for example, I would like to note this gray so that I can put it as my background here. And that's going to help me a lot as I move through the page and, just help me work quicker. And shaping up pretty good. We've got something that I think so far so good. Let's let this reload with the right amount of spacing. There we go. Cool. So modeling off of this, we would just have trusted by businesses worldwide, which I'm going to leave out for this 24-hour session. We can see how we could keep going on things, and this just might be something that happens because, we're getting in a rough mock-up. We have a tight timeline. Let's create this final CTA, and then we'll move on from the home page. Cool. So feeling good about the progress. We are now sitting at a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes. Okay, so just got the top part of this next page for industry selection done, and made a judgment call on changing the style of the progress bar because I like that the logo stays there with this. And then obviously I've copied in and just overwriting and using what I can of this page as I build out the remaining parts here. And what I'm going to do here, for anyone interested in knowing, we can see that we're aiming for this type of setup here, and this popular technology professional services. I'm going to add this as an option set. I like this because then I can continue to add to this list if I want to, and then this will get put in here as a repeating group. It'll go across the side. We'll just track every time the item is hit, and in a repeating group, we only have to build it once. In one spot, if it's hit, it'll say, hey, we're on this item, and then it will change the UI so that it has this underline and bold effect to it. And then when the UI is changed, we'll just have another repeating group down here that grabs additional list of stuff. So we'll have a technology list, a professional services list, and just like they've done here where they filled in only a few, I'm just going to fill in a few for the sake of this demo, and then make the selection here, get all the nice UI stuff looking good, and then going on my merry way. So roughing in that repeating group looks to be about 50 high. So we'll go with that. Add a text. This is the part that I'm not too keen on having the entire part of it filmed, but I think we can see here some of these styles that are set up. So I'm going to go with let's see, probably like an H6. Nope. Yeah, let's go with an H6. Let's see how this what this looks like. So we'll take the option sets display here, and we'll just give it a nice looking thing here. Yep, okay, so that's all of our stuff. Now we just want to get looking good. Alright, getting there. So I've got a workflow set up, so when this menu item is clicked, we're going to set this current cell's index as our custom state variable of a selected cell. So let's see if we can't. Yep, cool. So we've got that conditional working on here. Now let's see if we can get the text color as well. Okay, and just like that, we're rocking and rolling. Okay, so looking pretty good. I've got a couple of these in there, and we can just call this page in terms of what we're looking at here. We could get some tips in there, but I think we're going to call it good at this moment. And with all of this stuff set up for this first industry selection screen. And okay, we are looking here at the 350 mark. Let's see what we've got done. So we're building an app. That's what we're up to. We're going to build a business for dry cleaning. And we're going to hit create logo. It's going to take us to this page where we've got that info. We're going to select one of our, it's an accounting dry cleaner. And then it's going to have us choose a logo style. So there's a number of things that could be upgraded. Obviously, we could actually have bold geometric ones here, but right now we're just fine with the placeholders. And then we are on the point where we will actually send it off and then get something back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to continue the UI for the moment since I'm in the zone on that. I'll knock out the UI and then plan to come back with, fresh plans when I'm ready to say, hey, time to give me a prompt for a business that does X and likes this style of, or is in this industry and likes this style of logo, right? So I'll give it that information. It'll give some prompts back on the back end, not to me or not to us. The users won't see them. Then it'll go out and it will create that logo on the Ideogram website, which we can see here is they just specialize in each of these image generation places are slightly, customized towards some type of thing. And this one does text really good, which also turns out to be good in logos. Now, one thing that's really worth noting, actually, as I was making the preview screen, is that you're basically about to give somebody something for free. Now, there really isn't such a thing as something for free. Because, we all know that to do anything, at least there's a time investment of some kind, right? So what I decided to do is actually bring up the sign up feature right here and have it slide down a little bit that says preview your logo. Your logo is ready, and they can kind of see a hint at what's there. And I like this a lot because basically the person is already committed to take a look at what we can offer from this app. So why not make a mini transaction and get an email that can at least go on a list. Then what this leads me to do is that we're now going to go in that preview screen here. We're going to drop this into, so they're going to log in and then they're going to go in here, and we're just going to drop them into basically in their logo history area. When they click on one of these, they'll go into that preview thing. If they haven't purchased it, it'll be a slightly different screen if they have, and that's the direction we're headed now. All right, let's check in on our progress here after diving into the dashboard, knowing that we're aiming for the preview thing here. But, in order to lay the foundation for what is coming on here, one of the things I went ahead and did is add a sidebar here because that's obviously going to be used from everything. And then I just wanted to point out that there is a site called lucid.dev where you can go and get icons. Just do a search for the specific icons that you're looking for. So for let's see, the settings, that's where this one comes from, so on and so forth. And I'm working on this info one right here. And all of these icons, they come from that place there. And one of the things that I'm doing is I'm, reusing some of the elements here so I can see that this Start Fresh is actually pretty similar to the homepage thing. So I'm reusing the homepage and just as much as possible, right? And actually this one, we're going to get it with our icon pack here and just drop in. Cool. So I'm trying to get 4 elements in a row here. Make sure this one is going to have to change to a row. We'll have to mess around with some of the stuff here. But basically, I just want to point out that one of the best ways to go about, building things and doing things often has to do with just reusing what's there. And I would say that, this skill is no different than getting good at a musical instrument or anything else. You spend some time in it. And actually, speaking of time, on a time check, we're at 5 hours and 47 minutes. We are, building out this UI. And the amazing thing, again, about software, though, is once you build it, it's there. It can be used by as many people as you're able to bring to it. We're building a long-term asset with a 24-hour window. Out of 365 days, if that was the length that you gave yourself for a SaaS project, like, hey, I'm going to go after this thing and this is my year for it, then, I think 24 hours is a pretty reasonable amount of time. Granted, there are differing skill levels when it comes to building in Bubble, but if I can do it in 24 hours, can someone do it in a little bit more than that? That's fine too, right? The phrase goes something like, do what you can with what you have right where you are. And so that is always a good one to follow as you are diving into these types of projects, because getting some skills under your belt for how to lay things out and put everything in the right spot. Then we'll take a look at our data stuff, probably not in this same session, although in this same video up and coming, and we'll just continue working our way through things.
Searching for the thrill of it. All alone, we are calling out.
Okay, so feeling pretty good about what just happened there. This part is going to use some dynamic data compared to just some static things I filled this in with just to have placeholders. But if we compare these two, to me, that's looking pretty good. We're not going to do anything with notifications for this particular app. There's not really any interactions or where you wait for something and you need to be notified later. So there's we're basically there for this dashboard rough-in, and then now we can turn our attention to doing the preview and knocking that out, so that way we've finished this sequence of when somebody first starts out from the homepage into this selection, industry, style, they log in, we've got a dashboard for them to log into, and now let's get this preview thing made. All right, and so we've successfully got our preview page up here with our purchase and download, 2 calls to actions, a couple of tips, place to preview. Now, a little bit of this, slight UI changes, but basically everything is still there. And we got this 4-pack because basically that's what it's going to come back with. We could work on the sizing to get it all above the fold, as it were, but we're going to call it good here. I think that is a pretty successful session when we look at what we've been able to accomplish. We have, out of our screens here, we have this landing page, we have the dashboard page, the logo generator, both the taking in the industries, taking in the design styles, and then our logo preview. So we'll have some other stuff in the app to work on, but we're at the 7-hour, 18-minute mark. This is a great place to stop, get some rest, come back, finish some UI, dive into the data, build out some APIs, and we'll see what we get. It's a new day here, and the way I see it, things are going pretty well. We've got the 16-hour, 30-minute mark showing up on our timer as we move through this project. Now, why I'm optimistic is the logo history. If we take a look at what's next on our dashboard, we have logo history downloads. They're both basically going to be something like this table here, where it's some recent activity, it's logo history. And when they click on one of these things, what I'm going to have happen is that it just goes and opens up this page for the given logo. It'll be without the preview bar, obviously, but it'll just say, here's your logo, right? They've clicked from a list of all the logos, they've clicked into one. It makes it available for purchase. They can generate a new version, assuming that they have enough credits to do so. And so let's get rocking and rolling on the setup for the logo history downloads page. We'll knock out billing and settings and help and support. That's all going to basically be on the same page. Here, if we look at the account settings, let's just take a preview of that, and the billing will go here. Any kind of help and support, I think what we'll do is we will just add like a contact spot to here. We'll drop in a contact form. We won't do anything. In fact, we'll replace notifications with that. And we already have one of these built for this menu type of thing here. So we'll just pop that into our settings page. Help and support will just automatically link to this one here. And then I'll just note too, we already built the login. Now we're doing it as a pop-up rather than a full on screen like it's shown in this page. But I think that's completely acceptable. So we're actually doing quite good. We're going to wrap this up. This terms and licensing will drop into this settings area as well, into here on this panel, and that'll take us through our UI. Then we'll game plan from the prompts to get shot off from our system over to Claude, where it will generate another prompt, a prompt based on a prompt, and then that prompt will go on into our image generating system, Ideogram. That will generate the images. We'll get connected to the API. I've already generated an API key, and we'll take a look at what that process is, and we'll get going on making some amazing logos, popping them into our system, and making a database to kind of hold and glue it all together. So that's where we're headed in this moment. All right, that's a pretty good start. We've got our table here, and we can just see that it's the history of all the logos that someone has done. They'll get the preview thumbnail here. It'll show when they've done it, and then their purchases as well. Really, the only difference between these two being the history and the downloads is this will be a smaller list, right? Unless they've purchased everything that they have generated, then this will just be a list of all the times that they created something new, up to 5, let's say, as our free plan, and then anything that they purchased will show here. Otherwise, we'll display a message that no purchases have been made. Then on this new logo button, what we'll plan to do is link that over to the dashboard page, which this is not a working menu yet, but that'll link over there and highlight the input field for adding the business idea. Onto the checkout flow screen, so I cannot see right away that we'll be utilizing the 3-step process that we have before, or the 3-step progress bar rather, and a lot of this can be reused. We can see that this is going to come straight from the preview screen. It's going to, if they buy one, what we'll do is we'll include the ability to use all. Any logo generation that they've made of that business. So let's say they've made another one, right? Like that is, if they've made 30 within the same business idea and they're like, I want to buy this, we'll just, for now, give them the whole thing, and they can, because all we're doing is we're giving them the non-watermarked versions of things. And so when they continue to payment here, we'll have this progress bar that moves on, the checkout, their summary of things, they complete their purchase, and they get this. All right, and so here, as part of our payment flow, what I've got is this review area. I've moved some stuff around to bring up the order summary and the continue to payment. But what I want to do actually when I hit this continue to payment, rather than the idea of filling out a card on a page like here, what I want to do actually is I'm going to send someone over to a Stripe payment. So I have up, if you have a Stripe account, you are probably familiar that they have this thing called test mode where you can go in and you can create test and payment links and things like that. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to set up a product here for the price of $29, and then from here, the person will make their payment on a very, well-known, familiar page that people feel comfortable with it, is the point. And they'll make the payment there. They'll come back, and they'll be directed to this one here. So we'll just kind of have an intermediary step there. Great, so adding a product here at that price point, we'll create a link. What we'll do is we'll actually get a return URL after the payment is made. And to get a redirect URL, we'll go to this after payment part, where we will not send to a confirmation page, rather, we will send to, we'll select don't show a confirmation page. And what I have set up here is I'm doing this on the downloads area. And I basically have it, if this says purchase mode, let's take a look at this. Downloads. Purchase. So let's send it back to this purchase page, and we'll change out this screen down here with what's shown here based on the URL having the values in it that we'll give it. So one of the special things in here is this checkout session ID. Now, we've kind of left their UI world a little bit, but I wanted to just take the time and explain what's going on here, because it's really part of what's happening whenever you set up Stripe as an intermediary. You send your user to Stripe. Your user does some activity there. They come back to you, and it's important that you get some kind of identification of like, who was this person that made this purchase, because then you can correlate them in Bubble to who they are. So with that, I'm going to update it, and now I've got my payment link. And now I've got a payment link that everyone is familiar with, and it's going to improve my conversion rate optimization of sales. Let's give it a try. Okay. The payment went through. It sent me back to this page, and what I have in the URL is first I have this thing that says tab 3, which means I can change it. When the URL has this, I will change it to the download screen here. And then I can also look up on the back end this ID, ask Stripe, hey, who is this person that made this purchase? That way I can also show them and correlate that person with, so if there's two people checking out at the same time, I can correlate that person with the logo that they purchased. All right, so we're looking at our final checkout process here, so we can see that we're basically going to make a purchase, and we'll fill this out, and we'll see it redirect us to our page. All right, cool, purchase complete. So we see this review, payment, download, purchase complete. We basically bypassed this payment to make our own UI, and we put it over in Stripe. And then we come back and we have this here. Order summary, all the things. We can fill in license details. Well, we'll get that in the next one, because basically where we're going now is the account settings. We're going to put the terms and licenses under it. These modals, we'll see what we get to on there. But basically now in the final wrap-up part of our UI work. So creating this menu here with this nice icon plus menu item setup here. So we've got our option sets now where each of those are ready to go. And just like that, with the logic brought over from the other one that we already built, we've got it working. Okay, so I've defined all of the sections here for this account setting area. These three will be this terms and licensing. This will take care of this page, which we can see could be expanded on. We could add some additional things, etc., etc. But I think for the moment right now, having something up here, terms and license, this could go to a PDF where, some kind of full license overview that is templated out from a AI system and an LLM telling me, what are the 90% of the things that I should have or 100% of the things I should have for this, put it into a PDF. And then here on the purchases, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have it navigate over to the downloads area for this shows all of the stuff that they've purchased. So that does it now for our UI. We've got all of our pages set up now, and sure, we'll see about how it goes. We'll kind of build these as needed for our processing stuff, right? Because we're doing Stripe processing we're doing Stripe payment processing over on Stripe, so we won't need this one. We will potentially need something if we're going to use a credit. This looks like a good one. Deleting their account, that seems like if we're actually going to, continue to keep this danger zone thing here, which I think is a fine thing to have in an app. Like if somebody wants to be done with this decision to come here, it's kind of their way of saying goodbye and cleaning up their digital footprint. But okay, so now we're going to move on into the world of defining what it is that we're going to need for workflows. We have some of this navigation stuff already built for workflows, right? So you can see that, this is working, this is here. But now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of making that happen across the app, especially for when somebody gives us the business idea, they send it off to Claude, it comes back with a response. We take that response, we send it over to the Ideogram API, we get a logo back, we get a set of 4. We'll have those show off in our preview page, which I don't have up to show, but we'll get those set up in our preview page, and then we'll have the abilities for people to buy things. We'll get them watermarked, and that's what we'll do. We're coming in at 20 hours and 49 minutes here for the UI work. So it obviously is saying, plan to set aside a day for building your UI. Plan to set aside a day for building out the data. So, but I'm going to get going on that. Fire up the APIs, send out a prompt, build this into the app, and let's see if we can't get this done in the 24-hour time period. So we have built out the UI for everything that we're doing, and now it's time to take a look at our database and our programming steps. So for our data structure, what we see here is basically we're dealing with users, right? And it's great because we're having them sign up onto our platform right before they get the thing they came for, which is a free logo. So a pretty fair value exchange there. Next, for the logo project, that data type is going to be when somebody has, a business that they're going to do. And the logo generations are going to make up it's going to be like a list of each time they hit the generate button. We're going to create for them a generation that contains a prompt, gets sent out, gets some images back, and then we note whether that's been purchased or not. And so a list of those generations live on a logo project is kind of how I'm thinking about this, because you could hit, give me some more for the AI art, just for the concepts that it's going to create. And so then we'll go with that. Lastly, we'll have an order, and on an order, basically we want to know the user, the customer, maybe the price or cost of goods sold. And that's it. So obviously a user is going to have a list of those orders that they've made throughout their account, so we can keep track of that over in the downloads area. Basically, to downloads is anything they've already purchased that they can then go download. Cool. So moving on to our programming, each of our features, if we look at the home page, let's go ahead. We're going to take the time here, and we are going to work our way through what it is that we've built. So first and foremost, what I'm saying here is this homepage here, what we're doing is we want to, when someone clicks this, now, even if they're not logged in, Bubble creates a user session. So we'll have a user to tie stuff to. And we're going to basically create a logo project for them. We're going to save the business name to that project. And that's about it. They'll hit that create logo. They'll be taken to this industry selection page. They will select their industry, which is going to help us know how to kind of design the logo. And, for what's appropriate, like something for kids is obviously something very different than a B2B business, right? In terms of how the logo would look. Next, they can choose a style, and then we'll take those styles and we will save the selection. We'll craft the prompt that we're going to send over to Ideogram based on their selection, and we'll get our API work going so that we can send it off and then get something back. Next, for our purchase and download, we can see here that they get the preview after their step here of choosing their logo style. So they'll get this. Then if they want to purchase it, they'll be taken to this confirmation, which I think will actually display all 4 of the logos. They're going to buy a pack. So it feels like they're getting more because it doesn't cost us anything extra to give it to them. Then they'll hit continue to payment. That'll take them to the checkout. Upon completing the checkout, they come back here and they can download their stuff. Once they've downloaded their stuff, other parts throughout the app. So this is their logo generation history. I'm going to say that these are the projects. So if somebody is doing it for the same business and they make multiple generations, we're only going to show one here. And then, but for the downloads, they download an individual set of 4 is how I'm doing it. There's, pros and cons of going various ways. And these parts are actually more important for how someone would want to set up their business, right? So what's their business model on what they're taking in and what they're giving out as an exchange of value. Okay, so then once that downloads stuff is connected, here we will go over to the settings area where we have profile, security, terms and licensing, and support. So within each of those profile, we can save the names. We'll get the deletion part working. Then we'll set up some workflows for password reset. We'll get something going here for a download of just a PDF that could be populated with terms and licensing type of information. Then we'll connect this so that we get an email sent when someone selects help and support. And we can see here that there's some miscellaneous navigation stuff perhaps that could be done, such as this new logo, right? We have this on a couple places throughout the app, and when it's clicked, basically we want it to go to the dashboard and with something in the URL says someone's making a new logo, and just like this one highlights the input here so somebody can start their logo process creation. They're gonna come to this page, and that's how it's gonna go. I'm gonna remove this. You have only a certain amount of logo generations for free. This is kind of conflicting business models. It's like, are they getting free generations up until they get a purchase? Or, I think maybe we could limit it to 10 per day or something like that. Like if somebody is doing that type of activity where they're just keep on generating and using credits, and just force someone into a perhaps a monthly or just buying credits straight up, which is something for another day. But it wouldn't be any different really than just having this same checkout thing set up, the same thing set up over in Stripe, and allowing that person to buy some additional credits, because there's 2 options. There's free use until they pay, or option number 2 is free use a little bit so that you see it, and then pay for additional use at some level, and maybe a hybrid that they pay for a nominal amount for use, like a small amount, but then when they want to actually buy the rights and remove the watermark, then they would do that. And just like that, we've got a database set up here with our logo projects, our logo generations to hold all of our images that come back, as well as the orders, and then the user record, which contains the stuff related to, who owns this, whose order is this, who is the customer, and so on. So adding an API into the system is as simple as just going and installing the API connector on the Add Plugins area, clicking Add a new API. And for this one, I'm going to say the Ideogram image creation. Once I've done that, I'm going to say we'll go with Ideogram for the API. We'll name the call image creation. We'll set that as an action. We'll do a post. We'll head on over to the documentation here, where we can see on this generate, it is a post call to this URL. I've gone and gotten my API key, which is just as simple as going into this API beta area and creating a key on the button. Let's take a peek at what it requires for this. So we have a request. The image request is, so what I'm going to do here is, this is set as curl. I'm going to grab the copy and paste of that. I'll actually bypass what I have here. I'll set up this new one. I'll import that call. I'll delete out this one, although I want the name. So that's the image creation call. Set as an action, post. Here's where your key goes. And then it's got all this. So I'm going to put here prompt. Aspect ratio, we'll say 1:1. We'll say no on the magic prompt option because we want to control the prompt. We'll use this model v2 for now, and then we'll see what we get. With the API key installed, okay, we can see it's telling us the exact values we need to make or utilize. Okay, now I'm going to go and send it off. And it actually goes out and does the entire thing. Okay, so it's come back with our image here. Let's go and take a look at what it made us. So this is actually a logo for this. Okay, not bad. It's funny that it's got the little R thing there. That's cool. But it's some kind of gradient thing. Clearly somebody dancing a happy dance for making a logo. And not half bad. Okay, and so now what I'm doing is, once these style things are decided, I've got a couple things that kind of go along with each of the styles here. Now, obviously, the secret sauce for all of this is going to be you're building something in the back end that people will make use of, meaning you kind of have a special recipe of things. And in this case, there isn't a really right or wrong way to do it. It's only go out and guess and test and try and see. So here I've got a designer, a technique that could be used in an instruction and in a prompt that kind of pulls all those together. And so at this point, like what I'm doing is I've got this choice to be made. So someone's going to select one of these for how it's been set up before. When they hit next, depending on if they selected, here we go, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then when the person, I'm not going to send it off and pay the money to have this made if the person doesn't sign up for the account. Basically, when they sign up for the account, then I'm going to fire off the API call. So this sign up login, what I'm going to do is when someone hits the sign up button, I'm going to, so here we'll send it off to this, which we have send it off by scheduling an API workflow where the API call that we just made is already set up, ready to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send it a few pieces of data so that it can have them. So let's see, and we're actually going to go with on the pop-up itself. And we're going to send it right away, immediately. So that way you can get started. And then after this, in the preview page, we're going to add a spinning loader. We're going to send this person there. They're going to sit there with the spinning loader while the image has been sent out and is waiting to come back. Okay, so now with a little bit of work, we have a loader here, and these things will come in. When it's ready, this thing will hide. And when it is ready, this thing will show. Let's go see that in action. Our workflows are set up all the way through the preview. So let's go ahead, and we don't need to wait until the very end to see this turn into something worthwhile. So we're going to call a marketing agency Creative Juice. We're going to go with the playful and creative one. Then we're going to have a sign up. Okay, and with password and username ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and fire this off. Now it's giving this teaser, right, of preview your logo, and then it's going to pop us over here into the back end. The way that it's set up, so let's go take a look at our database. What we've done is we have created a project. It's got a couple different things on it, based on, the industry, the business name, some of the style stuff related to that styling. And then we have something that's created, just kind of as an empty holder for the images. And let's see what we get. So the logic on here is programmed so that when the images have filled up in here, then this thing will automatically show. Okay, so I see the first image coming in here, and the other ones just came in as well. Okay, Creative Juice. So we can see that it's come back to us. We don't have the watermark on there yet. So we can see you can play around with the watermark itself and like how transparent it is and things like that. But I think that it'd be tough for someone to use this particular because of the gradients and whatnot. More power to them if they wanted to take that time, or they could just save the time and purchase it. That's kind of the thing you're aiming for here, right? But what we do see is some pretty nice options now, super colorful, super playful. That was the style that we chose, and it's for a marketing agency. So, people will be able to kind of make their decisions and decide on some stuff. But I think the takeaway here is that we've created something quite nice. And, I think this would be the types of things that people want to see, potentially even pay for, considering the level of quality here that and the price point for them to be able to get something that gets them off and running on whatever it is, whatever venture it is that they're starting. So what I've been able to do so far now is the homepage, the generation step 1, generation step 2. Now there's some work to be done for the purchase and download, and I'll just kind of continue my work through here and finish off the app. Okay, and with some wiring up and connecting over to Stripe to get the payments processed, let's go ahead and see this in action. What we're going to note here on the database, so orders is one of our database values. So what we're going to do is we are going to continue with our payment here. We're going to make a checkout here on Stripe, and I think it could take any value, rather. Okay, so we'll see it come back to the page. And now, this is not exactly the ideal thing, but when I hit that, it just opens up all of the items into a new tab for now. It could be something that is a little bit more put together. And in fact, there is a free zip file tutorial on the channel if you're interested in learning how to add files together into a zip file and do that. So cool. Our purchase and download stuff is set up. So we'll now continue on with dashboard, logo history, downloads, just kind of fleshing out the rest of these areas with having, so for example, we can see that we've purchased this one. So this one is going to show up in the regular downloads area. If I were to click over here in the mode downloads, so this would be now it fill in with just one item where someone could go and review it. And then clicking this would be the same thing as clicking this downloads button. All right, the settings area is finished. I'm pretty excited about this because it means that we are wrapping up our video, not only with a tour of the settings area. Let's go ahead and just take a look at that so we can kind of, get eyes and ears, or I guess just eyes, on every part of the app. We have a delete thing, which we're not going to do. This security, which will reset the password by sending a password reset email to the person's email account. Terms and licensing, we'll be able to download a PDF here, which, is good for now. Help and support, help me. We'll see that get sent off and confirm that the message is sent. Lastly, this purchases just goes to the downloads area, actually, which we'll see in a second. This new logo area is going to take us over to the dashboard, and we can see that it's already pre-filled in, ready to go to generate a new logo. And we see our logo generations here so far. Let's see, we'll explore. We're going to explore right now just this last part of this app, and then we're going to recreate a new one of these. And what I want to do is see the generation process, or recreate the regeneration all the way from start to finish, because when we put that one in here, it will not have been purchased. So I want to show off the UI and where each of those leads to, depending on if it's purchased or not. But so I'm going to wait until that piece of data is in place. So if we now look at the logo history, we can see logo history. These are going to be for each business, right? Like it's the higher level item. That's just how I chose to go for this app. And a valuable thing about a tutorial like this is you can look and see somebody else's. This is mostly a first draft. I've never built an app like this before. I wouldn't say that I've thought this through, 100%. But when we look at this logo history, I click on it, send us over to the preview page where we can basically preview the latest version of that one, because there's multiple. So that's logo history. Coming off the downloads, we see the stuff that we have downloaded or can download, and we have this action that occurs there, and then let's see, that's for both of them. But if we click on one of these, we actually go to this page, and we are also presented. It's the purchase page, but it's presenting this without the ability to purchase because it's already purchased. And then that's it. So that takes us through this part of the app. Let's actually now go and head to the home page where we'll fire off another one of these. And let's go with, Arced. So how is that? No, Arced. I kind of want it like Arc with Spark, but more like this type of Arc. Okay, call it good. And we'll let that be, we already did a marketing agency. That could be Arc Spark, maybe, probably consulting. I don't think any of these other ones are really, super B2B, but we'll go with consulting. And let's see, bold, geometric, classic, professional. We'll go with this, minimal, modern. And obviously, we could come back, and here we're going to just log in quick. So log in, and that should send it off, get us going to this logo preview page. And of course, it's going to churn for a little bit to actually make those logos. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that kind of works, I guess. If this was a consultancy, very clean, which that was the one, right? It was clean and modern. So okay, so we can see that we're gonna walk through this purchase process one last time. No, wait, I take it back. We don't want to do that. We actually want to. So this is the final preview with the actual order summary here. But we want to go back to the dashboard because I want to show off the this here. And yes, I guess this is an unfortunate announcement. When we look at our timing here, as we wrap up this project, we are, commitments in life get in the way, but I think we're at the 43-hour mark. This was meant to be a 24-hour challenge, but it explains the fact that when you go out and you do things, you have other stuff going on other than just building a bubble. So I think that's I think that's still a huge win to be able to do this in such a short amount of time. But now when we look at the ones that are already purchased, I'm just pointing out this last part here is that this art sparked one. When we go to this one, it is not purchased. Thus, we go to here, where we are given the opportunity to purchase it. So, what are our takeaways from this challenge? Well, after working through all of this screen work and then data work and then programming work to make everything be tied together, the takeaways really are you probably want to plan out a session or a day where you utilize an app planning method that helps you plan out your whole project, including all of the screens. And then you'll spend that same day making those screens or same first session. For those interested in getting help on this part, there'll be a resource in the description below. Then, after the UI part, moving into the database and programming, coming up with the data structure, again, resource below for help on doing that. And when it comes to programming and putting everything together in Bubble, well, we can see that taking each of our pages and working through them to decide what needs to happen on them to move the things around and get the results that we would expect to get. Well, that's going to be another couple of sessions where, especially if you're new to Bubble, maybe there's the learning curve of how to use these blue expressions and what goes where and, basically work things into how you want them. But we can see that based on, an app that is this simplistic, there's not much going on. A MVP style app where you get out a working prototype connected with Stripe to be able to receive payments and offer tremendous value to people who, wouldn't know their way around, getting a logo like this. Well, we can see that you're able to do this very straightforward and very quickly over in Bubble. Now, if you want the full course on this entire project, check out the description for an additional resource where all of this is made available so that you can just follow right along. In that course, we go deep into the recipe making of AI so that way you can string together different APIs and the different thoughts that you have that would create the output that you want from the system and then be able to provide it an interface in a SaaS sales type of method. If you enjoyed this video, also check out the Claude connecting to Bubble via API video. I think that one's going to, fill in some gaps on how all this stuff works as well. And if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe for more great tips about Bubble, and thanks for watching.